Well, Amanda, it's one thing to feel sad. It's one thing to feel depressed, lonely, like I want to give up on life. It's one thing to not show up for myself, but do you really know what it's like to feel this pain when nobody actually cares? Do you know what it feels like to not show up for yourself when you've never had anybody show up for you? Nobody could care if I lived or if I passed. I'm in this alone, you don't understand. The feeling of abandonment is one thing, but knowing that nobody cares on top of it, that's even worse. After a recent interview that I did on Andy Wells's coaching channel, I will link him below, he had recommended me a book called Letting Go, Pathway to Surrender. Before you now, I hold up a tarot card. This is the Magician card. And after getting into the beginning of this book, I kind of wanted to give some advice on when you're having multiple emotions that feel overwhelming and when it kind of becomes your burden to deal with those emotions all alone by yourself. What we don't yet realize, or what we might not yet be conscious and aware of, is the fact that we don't just have to be experiencing our emotions, overwhelmed by them, becoming those emotions of pain, those emotions of regret. We actually aren't those experiences. There's a way in which we no longer have to feel that experience, but rather become a witness to our emotions and a witness to those experiences. I'm talking about letting the emotion take place, not fighting it, not resisting it, because resistance creates persistence. So not resisting it and just letting the emotion appear, not judging it, not condemning it, not saying that it should be this way or it shouldn't be that way, but just allowing it. What are you feeling at this time? Can you pinpoint it? Can you label what the emotion is called? Let yourself feel that in your body. Where is it coming from? A lot of times it comes from our heart, our chest area, that center. That's where these painful emotions come from. Feel that. Let it permeate you. Don't fight it. And then as soon as you identify it, I'm going to teach you guys a method for dealing with these multiple emotions. But once you identify the emotion that's coming up, let's say, I'll give you guys an example. Let's say you're talking to some girl. This is the first time you ever tried dating in a long time. The date went well, but you haven't heard back from her. Now, all these feelings and emotions that carry the belief of self-doubt, that carry the belief you're unlovable, that carry the belief that you should have never tried, they start to overtake you. They start to overwhelm you. Let's say you feel somewhat humiliated, embarrassed. Why was I vulnerable again? I let my guard down around this girl. I let myself believe in love. That's humiliating. So you have this embarrassment, but not only that, you have this feeling as though you moved too quickly, as though things persisted too quickly and that you jumped to conclusions. You thought this was gonna work out. You don't know how to be in the moment because you're so worried about the future. It's all moving too fast. Then you have this other kind of emotion, this judgmental, shameful emotion that's trying to block these other emotions, that are trying to resist them. Put them to rest, put them to bed. Please don't have these. This is embarrassing. Why are you even embarrassed? I don't want to feel any of this. So much like the Magician tarot card, as you can see, he has a table in front of him with the cups and the pentacles and the wands and then the swords right here. Much like the table in front of the magician, I want you to alchemize your emotions in this moment. So as soon as you identify them, judgment, shame, that can be the judge. What am I thinking of when I'm thinking of this judgmental emotion? I'm quite thinking of a picture of Judge Judy. So in front of this imaginary table, I'm going to take this emotion, pull it out of me, but first let myself feel it without resistance. Then I'm going to pull it out of me, and then I'm going to put Judge Judy on the table. And then the other emotion, embarrassment, humiliation for feeling vulnerable, embarrassment for believing in love. I'm thinking of the embarrassed emoji, right? Symbolically, if you can take these emotions and kind of symbolize them, but not in a symbol that's too overwhelming, but kind of one that perfectly in one symbol, in one word, can give the exact emotion you're having, like the embarrassed emoji. Now I'm gonna pull out this humiliation in the form of this emoji, put it on the table. The feeling of things moving too quickly. Maybe perhaps you're thinking of a race car. You can put the race car on the table. For me earlier, I was thinking of the Eight of Wands. You could put the Eight of Wands on the table if you're into tarot. Now you have the embarrassed emoji, a picture of Judge Judy, and then a Eight of Wands tarot card symbolizing things moving too fast, or a race car. And I just want you to sit back and witness these emotions. Just observe them, don't let them overtake you, and allow space between you and those emotions. By reminding yourself, you're not those emotions. Those emotions are right in front of you. They're connected to you. They're on the table. They're right in front of the magician, but they're not in you. They're not overtaking you. They're not who you are. Right now, you're just witnessing those emotions on the table in front of you. And the thoughts, the beliefs, and everything that's kind of creating this story, this external world, what's happening in my external reality. It's because she didn't text me back, I'm feeling these emotions. It's not necessarily about that. She's not necessarily important at the time as to why you're feeling these emotions. These emotions were inevitably going to be triggered. They were inevitably going to be brought up. My phone totally died. I'm so sorry. I want to continue talking about this, but instead of looking at your circumstances, instead of looking at the girl, the situation, being alone, whatever's around you, whatever's external, just look at that table with those symbols in front of you. That's what you're dealing with. If you can kind of break it down into just that table that's sitting right in front of you, it makes the situation a whole lot more simple and less intimidating. That's all you're dealing with. Everything else is just stuff happening on the outside. But what makes our experiences so hard, what makes life so triggering, it's not the experiences of life itself, but it's our emotions that we feel as a response to them. So if you can sit these objects down on a table in front of you and just witness them, that's the first step to detachment. That's the first step to letting go. And I will see you guys in a later YouTube video.